Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. I hope this is finding you and yours doing well this weekend. My name is Angela Petrilli. I am here with my friends at Fishman for a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. Today's episode is pre-recorded, but we are learning a grunge classic today, Lithium by Nirvana. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab your electric guitar and we are going to tune it down a whole step, the entire thing. So from a standard tuned guitar, you're going to tune the E string down to D, the A string to G, the D string to C, the G string to F, the B string to A, and the high E string to D. So the tuning is going to be D, G, C, F, A, D for today's lesson. And as always, if you guys are enjoying these live stream lessons that I do every week here on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Really does help me out a ton. And if you want to check out all the cool Fishman gear that I use in these lessons, including these Fluence P90s that absolutely rock, go ahead and click the link in the video description below. Many of you ask how you can support me for the live lessons that I do here. I just started a Patreon page, so I left that link down below too, so you can check that out. As always, you guys know I like to ask a question before we get started, so please let me know where you are tuning in from, your favorite 90s bands. Where you're tuning in from, favorite 90s band, electric guitar, tuned down a whole step. And here we go. Here is Lithium by Nirvana. Let's go ahead and get to it. One of my favorite songs. Oh my gosh, this one's so fun to play. So again, we're tuned down a whole step for today's lesson. So let's look at the intro. I'm going to play it just a little bit slower than I did at the top, and I will talk you through it. The intro and the verses are very, very similar. We're going to see, and I'll talk about it in a moment, slight variation in the verses and the way that we are going to build the chords. But here's the intro. Take a look at what's happening here. So we're going to start off, I'm going to break this down into 4 parts. Start off with part 1. So this is over a G sharp 5. Now, I know we're tuned down a whole step, but just to keep things easy as far as fret markers, I'm going to call the chords as if we were in standard tuning. So we have the open E string, and we're going to strike that twice. Open, no hands, okay? So just like that. From there, first finger on the 4th fret of the E string, and then either your pinky or your 3rd finger on that 6th fret of the A string, okay? Just like that. Let's do that a couple times. Now, I am plucking downwards on the first 3 notes, and then plucking upwards on that 6th fret of the A string. Just like that, okay? So that's part 1. Now, part 2 sounds like this. And all that is, we're gonna go back to that open E string, first finger on the 4th fret, this time 4th fret of the A string. Now, you can choose to get your 3rd finger and 4th finger, okay? We're gonna play those 2 notes together, 6th fret of the D string and G string respectively. You could choose to do it this way, or you could choose to play it with 1 finger like Kurt often did. Okay? So let's break down that part. Again. From there, we're gonna go, I'm gonna call it an A5. I know it's not really an A5, we're tuning out a whole step. Okay, I want you to get your first finger. Place that across the 5th fret of all 6 strings. Okay, we're playing an A5 power chord here. So get it ready to go. Okay, so first finger on the 5th fret of the E string, 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the A string, and then you have your 4th finger here on the 7th fret of the D string. What we're gonna do is we're gonna play the open E string yet again, and lift. So place that first finger down, then to play that 5th fret E string, strike the 7th fret A string, strike the 7th fret D string. Lift that first finger, go back to that open E string. Here's that a couple times. Just like that. Okay. For context, let's go ahead and combine it with the rest of the parts so far. Here we go. Like that. Let's do that again. 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 Okay? So that's the first 3 parts. So the next part here is going to be all power chords. Now I'm going to call them as if we were in standard. Okay, we're gonna go to a C5. So get your first finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the D string, and your pinky finger on the 5th fret of the G string. Okay, give that 3 strums. While that's still going, okay, slide that up a whole step to our D5, meaning first finger, 5th fret of the A string, 3rd finger, 7th fret of the D string, and pinky finger, 7th fret of the G string. So that sounds like this. Okay, just like that. Now, next chord. Notice how I'm keeping the sustain of all these chords going. I'm going to a B5. Okay, if we were in standard, I'm going to a B5 next. So first finger, 2nd fret of the A string, 3rd finger, 4th fret of the G string, or the D string, and then pinky fingers on the 4th fret of the G string. Okay? Just like that. So let's play through that. Again. From there, slide up to that D5 again. And then just kind of slide it back a little lazily. Okay, let it kind of fade out. So here's that part again. Just like that. Now, let's play through the whole thing, nice and slowly. Again. Just like that. So when we get into the verses, so that part happens one time. When we get into the verses, the only thing that we're gonna do differently is, you know, we had that C5 to D5 to B5 back to D5, and we played the power chords. For the verses, and Kurt did this sometimes, is where we make these major chords, meaning with the power chords, we only have the 1 and the 5 of the chord. But when we want to do a major chord, we then include the 3 as well. And how we do this from this chord shape, from the power chord, okay? So the power chord has 3 fingers, okay? We're gonna bring this 3rd finger down, so making that C5 a C major, okay? I want you to bring that third finger down. The third finger is going to cover the 5th fret of the D string, G string, and the B string. It should sound like this. Okay. And same thing with D major. Okay, so we have the D5. Make it a D major, bringing that third finger down on the 7th fret of the D string, G string, and B string. And with the B5, we're going to turn that into a major too. So B5, make it major. Third finger across the 4th fret of the D string, G string, and B string. And then back to D. Okay? So that will sound like this. The beginning part of the intro with the G sharp 5 to the C sharp 5 to the A. Okay, exactly the same. Here's where it varies. Have a listen. See how it brightens it up when we add that 3? It's really cool. Do that again. That's what's happening there. And also, I forgot to mention this at the top. If you have a cool chorus pedal, you're like 100% the way there in getting the tone right. So killer stuff. So that's what's happening in the verses. This is going to repeat 4 times. Now, at the 4th time, when we go to the B5 to the D5, is when he hits that distortion pedal. So I'm keeping things a little bit on the cleaner side for this lesson so you guys can hear everything. But I definitely encourage you, like, get the distortion pedal, get the chorus pedal. You're going to be in really good shape. Okay, so that repeats 4 times. So let's go ahead and do that now. 2 more times. Here, and then we get into our chorus. All right, so pretty cool stuff. As far as the chorus goes, it's going to be a lot of power chords, which is awesome. All right, so the chorus is going to sound like this, going to play it a little bit slower. Similar here, so pretty cool. We're going to do here, so we're going to start off with an E5. Yes, I know we are tuned down a whole step. We're going to use one finger to play this. I'm going to go with like the rock and roll version of playing this E5 up towards the headstock. So what we're going to do here, first finger across the 2nd fret of the A string and the D string. You're going to strum the open E string, A string, and D string. And that's it. Just play those 3 strings, okay? And just give it a nice strum like that. Listen to the song and feel like Kurt had such a unique feel when he was playing rhythm. So I really encourage you, listen to some live versions, listen to the album version. It's really great stuff. So from there, we're going to go to our G sharp 5 power chord to C sharp 5. Okay, so these are chords that we saw at the top, right? Now we're just building them up a lot stronger in the choruses. And notice, G sharp 5, C sharp 5, okay? They're right underneath one another, okay? So the 4th fret and 6th frets respectively. The next chord is going to be an A5. So I noticed live he plays it here. You could play it up here too, but with this version when he plays live, okay? First finger, we're going to do another rock and roll version of this A5 chord towards the headstock. Get your first finger across the 2nd fret of the D string and the G string. Play the open A string, and you have it like that. Okay, so that's what we're looking for there. Now, if you want to play it here, it's just a little thicker, but it will work. So let's go through those 4 chords again. E5, G sharp 5, C sharp 5, and A5. And again, don't forget to click that thumbs up button. It really does help with the algorithm with these videos today. So really appreciate it. So here we go. E5, G sharp 5, C sharp 5, and A5. Let's go. Take it slow. Like I always say in these lessons. Can't play anything fast, can't play slow. So here we go. Again. Notice the difference between the two kinds of A5s. Kind of neat. From there, we're going to go to our C5, D5, B5, and D5 that we see in the verses. And keep in mind, lots of heavy distortion in this part. So let's go ahead and do that again. And notice, I'm getting a lot of those open strings in between the chords too. Really adds to the thickness of the song. It's really great. So I encourage you, get those open strings in between the chords. Sounds pretty cool. Let's do it again. One more time. So that's what we're looking for there. That's going to happen 3 times, and then we go into a verse 2 and another chorus. So at the 1 minute 58 second mark, we're going to have our bridge. So the bridge sounds like this. Pretty simple power chords that we have here. We're going to start with that A5. We've done this one before. Again, 3 strokes. And then we're going to do a C5 over G. When I was watching some live videos, pretty sure this is what he was doing. So what we're going to do, so instead of playing the C5 like we did a moment ago, like this, right? All I want you to do is bring that first finger up. So now we're including the G note. Yes, I know we're tuned down a whole step. But we're going to play that 3rd fret of the E string just to give it a little more oomph, right? So we're including the 5 on top of the chord there. Just kind of neat. So that's going to look like this. A5, and then that C5 over G, like that, okay? And only strum the strings that your fingers are on. He goes back and forth here a lot, okay? A bunch of times. Listen to this song, you'll hear it. Just going back and forth. Okay, so it's like over and over and over and over again. Towards the end, okay, when we're leading into the bass solo part, which is so cool, okay, we're gonna go to a D5, back to the B5, and there's those open strings again. Okay, sounds like the open D string and G string. So like this. Like that. From there, a good bend on that 3rd fret, right, of the low E string, and then let it ring open E string. So sounds like this, slowly. So you can choose to play each of those, or if you want to, kind of let it go. Sounds like he's articulating it with a pick. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you. So let's go back and forth. I will abridge the bridge where we're doing the A to the C5. and then we'll go to the D5, B5, and G5. And again, don't forget to click that thumbs up button. So here we go. And again, don't forget those open strings. Let's go to our D5. Pretty good stuff. So let's go ahead and let's kind of review a little bit. So let's do the verses, let's go into a chorus, and then let's go into a bridge. From there, I'm going to teach you guys how to play the bass solo, even though the guitar isn't doing anything. I think the bass solo is really cool, and we have time, so I'm going to teach you guys how to play it. So here we go from the top. Let's go ahead and start. Let's do the intro too. Why not? Here we go. Verses. One more time. Distortion. Chorus. Again, heavy distortion. Let's just say if I was playing this live, I'd be digging in quite a bit. But again, listen to the song. You'll hear the energy. It's so cool, and the dynamics. It's just great. So that's what's happening there. So we go into that bridge, we finish the bridge, and then the bass solo comes in, which is really awesome. Guitar is not playing this, obviously, because the bass is playing it. But I figured it's a cool part, so I'm going to teach you guys how to play it. So it sounds, to the best of my ear, sounds like this. It's really cool. So I'm going to break this down into, let's break it down into 3-4 sections. So here's what we have here. So I am palm muting this to sort of mimic the sound of a bass. Obviously, guitar's not going to sound like a bass, but we will do our best to palm mute here. So I've got this side of my hand, okay, right in between the bridge and this last pickup here, this bridge pickup. So I've got it in between, okay? So it gives it a thuddy sound. Hear that? So that's what we're looking for here. So I've got second finger or placing it rather on the second fret of the D string. I'm going to hit that twice. See what I mean? We want it nice and just thuddy in all the good ways. So from there, second fret of the D string twice, and then first fret of the D string twice as well. Just like that. So from there, get the third finger on the fourth fret of the A string. Just like that. Let's do that. Let's do it a few more times. Again, one more time. So, part 2 is going to go like this. What we're going to do there, fourth finger, or third finger, fourth fret, A string. Bam. Say that 10 times fast. Okay, so we've got that. And then open A string. So fourth fret of the A string to the open A string. First finger, third fret of the low E string. And then either pinky or third finger on the fifth fret of the low A A string. All right, so that's what we're looking for. So it's going to sound like this. And notice, I'm keeping this part of my hand there to emulate, right, the sound of the bass. Just like that. Let's combine it with part one, shall we? Okay, lots of cool anticipation in this riff. It's great. One more time, it's too fun to play. Okay, from there, we're gonna play just the 3rd fret of the A string, and then we're gonna play those 2 notes together. Place your pinky finger on the 5th fret of the D string. So we've got, then you're going to play the 5th fret of the D string by itself, and then slide it up to the 7th fret of the D string, and then hit that note twice too. Okay, so slowly sounds like this. Again. From there, final part, part 4. Okay, 1st finger, 2nd fret of the A string, hit that 3 times, and then slide that up to the 5th fret of the A string, and hit that 3 times too. So we've got cool stuff, isn't it? Let's go ahead and play through the whole thing. Again. So that's the bass solo. So that continues through verse 3. So there's some good, I think there's like a little bit of guitar, but not a lot in verse 3. The chorus then comes in, builds those dynamics, right? So da, 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 da. Okay, so that chorus continues, okay, and it's repeated 3 times. From there, we go into a bridge, and the bridge ends the song, which is really cool. So and that ends the song. It is too cool. If there's some of you who aren't familiar with this one, please give it a listen. It's from a great, iconic album as well. So that is Lithium by Nirvana. I hope you guys had a blast. This is one that's been on my list for a very long time, and I've gotten many requests from many of you for doing more Nirvana. So there you go. Always a pleasure. Seriously, always a pleasure. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in week after week. I want to thank my friends at Fishman for helping me do these lessons week after week, and just thank you all again. I know I say this at the end of every lesson. Thank you all for being so kind to one another in the comments. We are all students of the craft, including myself. I am still learning every single day. I am a perpetual student, and it's been such a joy mentoring all of you week after week and hanging out and teaching you guys how to play some of my favorite songs. But I just really want to say again, just thank you all for being so kind to one another and uplifting one another in the comments. I see that, and I really appreciate it. We're building a really beautiful community here. So thank you all so very much for that. I see it, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you all so much. As always, wishing you so much success in your musical journeys. I hope you had a blast today, and I look forward to doing this again soon. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Play lots of grunge, and